Hey everyone, Aaron here. Welcome back to another anime review. Today we look at Tales of Zestiria the X, episode number 24. Now, really fast, guys and girls, I've been hearing on the rumor mill that apparently episode 25, which will be the last one of the season, probably the series 2 in general, will not be released next week. Apparently it's going to be released several weeks from now, probably in the next month. I don't know the exact date. I'm going to still be looking to make sure I can find out myself because I want to get the review out as soon as it comes out. But I don't know exactly when it's going to be released. It doesn't look like it's going to be next week. So, anticipate that next week probably will not be, no review for it will come out. And I also really apologize for being so late with this review, but I was really exhausted this morning. I just figured I'd just sleep. And Tales, as many of you know, I really am not a huge fan of the second season of Tales. Luckily, though, when I actually woke up and I started watching this, I actually enjoyed this episode. It wasn't too bad. I was surprised. It actually was enjoyable. The whole edition of Metellus, though, was probably the weakest part of the whole episode for the fact that this is what I kind of hated about how they did a lot of things with the story elements of the second season. They started fusing, Tales of Berseria stuff a little too hard, I think, into the story. And I think they kind of catered around that to make the story more, accessible to people that played both games. But I feel like that was not necessary. I think they could have just went off the original story and just had the additions of them as lore. But, whatever, they unfortunately did it. I think that was the weakest part. Luckily, however, despite that being the weakest part, the rest of the stuff, the rest of the episode, great. The fight in the beginning against, the Lord of Calamity was actually pretty good. Sorey was fighting him. It was pretty cool. It was very short-lived, and I was almost scared. I'm like, please tell me that we're not going to have like a 2-second fight, because it was literally maybe less than a minute that these two were fighting. And, it was really nice animation-wise. I mean, come on, Ufotable hits it out of the park every time with their animation, so I'm not really surprised it looked amazing, but the fight actually was pretty good. It sent chills down my spine, so I know for a fact it was pretty good. But, it really wasn't better until the last part, but really more so, what we got here from it was actually a pretty good story, which is the story from the game, which has, Heldoff, which is the Lord of Calamity, talking with Michael, the original shepherd. And what's interesting about this sequence was we get to see, a more human side to Heldoff, but at the same time we get to see what happened and what caused him to become the Lord of Calamity, where he betrays the whole village, and, Michael really cursed him because of the fact that he did that. Metellus also had to, unfortunately, lose his powers and give his powers to the Lady of the Lake, which is, Lila, to have a chance at the next shepherd purifying him, because he knows he's not purified. He's now filling with malevolence. But after this whole recap part of this little thing and this kind of flashback, I should have said flashback. We get to the actual secondary part of the fight, which is really cool. I mean, it all climaxed so well because of the fact that everyone was going at Metellus but kind of losing. Not Metellus, excuse me, Lord of Calamity. They were all losing. But what was really cool, though, and I think it was probably one of the coolest scenes of the show so far, was what they decided to do in comparison to what they did in the game. Where in the game, Sorey never actually combined with everyone at the same time. Like, he was always using one or another of the Seraphim to bolster his powers. He at one point used all their powers, but it wasn't shown that well. It was more shown like a kind of interesting cutscene type thing. Here, we actually see him using everyone's powers. His outfit changes to accommodate every single one of them. It was actually pretty cool. I won't lie. I actually really enjoyed it. I thought it was probably one of the nicer scenes of the show, to be honest with you. But hopefully that means that the next fight will be something pretty badass. I'm curious if he's gonna switch and swap between weapons, if he's gonna empower all the weapons into one giant weapon. I'm really curious. I want to see how that's gonna look and cultivate into the episode. But overall, guys and girls, I think this was probably one of the stronger episodes of the second season, hands down. I really am curious, like I said, to next week's episode. Unfortunately, probably not next week. It'll probably be several weeks from now. But we'll talk about that when that occurs. Anyways, guys and girls, I will talk to you later. If you enjoyed this review, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, share the video. You know the whole nine. Have a great, blessed day, everyone. Bye-bye.